Hello and welcome to my Smallville retrospective review series. Now, just a little thing, people, if you've been waiting, oh, where's the next episode review? Unfortunately, that's changed. Much like with Angel before it and Buffy, I'm going to stick to full season reviews. Unlike Angel though, I'm gonna leave up because I have way more Smallville single episode reviews than I did Angel. I had about 5 or 6, this one about 10. So yeah. So a full season. So we're talking about season 1, Smallville, and interesting enough, this was not actually the first season I bought. The first season of this show I bought was season 4, and didn't really buy them all in order, actually, but it's one of the few shows of They Were Supernatural that I still bought while it was still on the air. I bought while it was still on the air, so, and the current, superhero shows. Hold on. Dying to come out. Now you're out. Now shut up. So, the first season of the show. What is the show about? Well, you see my other reviews, you know it's about a young Superman, a young Clark Kent, going through high school at 25 years old. Well, that's all I'm just saying. So, yeah, that's basically Clark Kent navigating high school. And that's what we were given. And you have some comic book characters like Pete Ross, who in this version is African American. You have Lana Lang, who was in the comics, John and Martha Kent. And yeah, just Lex Luthor. But introduce there's some original characters like Whitney Fordman, played by Eric Johnson, who will go on to be Flash Gordon for one season. Chloe Sullivan, who's an original character who we, in the later season, find out is connected to a comic book character, which kind of disappointed me when I found it out. So, what are the characters? Let's talk about the characters first. We know Clark Kent. He's a young Superman before he's Superman, and the unique powers that he has to start out with are his super speed and super strength. That's it. And I remember when I first started watching, I'm like, why isn't he using his heat vision? Why isn't he using his X-ray vision? What's going on? He doesn't have them yet. He doesn't get them till later. And to me, when I first started watching, I'm like, that's stupid. He should have all his powers at once. But then again, now as an adult, I think about it. You don't want your character too OP from the beginning. You want, and this is about him growing up and learning to use his abilities. So, to that end, it works. And so, he does get his X-ray vision in like the 4th episode of the season. So he gets that, and he uses that a lot. I noticed, since he gets it, he uses it just about every other episode. So it's a good thing they gave it to him. Lex Luthor. I think that this is perhaps one of, if not the best portrayals of Lex Luthor, at least on television. I know John Cryer is pretty good, John Shea was really good, but Michael Rosenbaum is pretty good because he actually brings some humanity to the character, where Lex Luthor has always been portrayed as this evil asshole out to conquer the world. Of course, but here he has some humanity to him, and you build up to him eventually becoming this villain. Lana Lang. Now, okay, I can go on for an hour about how Lana Lang eventually, in the grand scheme of things, is a pointless character. But I like the portrayal by Kristen Crook. The problem is that, like I said, she's pointless in a long scheme of things, because you know that Clark's going to eventually end up with Lois. And they just, even more than this, throughout the seasons, they do this will they, won't they bullshit between them that you know isn't going to go anywhere. And, you know, finally you say, hey, let them date for now because it's never going to work out. But they date like 3 or 4 different times throughout the series. And it's like, really, we got to keep doing this? Shows like Friends do this will they, won't they thing, like with Ross and Rachel. At the end, they finally get together. And if you're going for that, like Friends, you do with the one thing in the end game is that they're going to end up together by the end of the series, that's fine. Here, they just do it. And when we get to season 8, I'll discuss, because they do it in season 8. And it's not needed to be done in season 8. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, the will they, won't they stuff. And that brings me to the character of Whitney Fordman, who, for all intents and purposes, is only here to get in the way of Clark and Lana. Now, he does have some of his own storylines, such as his father is having heart attacks. He has a couple of heart attacks, and then his father dies. And yeah, but then that makes Clark look like an asshole for, you know, even thinking of getting with Lana. That doesn't work when you're making your character look like a jerk just because someone's father has died. The character of Chloe, I always believed, is Smallville's version of Lois Lane until we actually get Lois Lane later on. And we find information about Chloe and Lois later. But just, yeah, because she's a reporter. She's got this whole thing going. The torch. She's the Lois Lane of this high school era. And what I don't like about her character is they shoehorn in this out of nowhere crush and romance with Clark. Like, almost towards the end of the season, it's like, oh, well, Chloe has a crush on Clark. Okay. And then, like, all of a sudden, oh, I think I have feelings for Chloe too. And we're going to go to the dance. What? You've been crushing on Lana all fucking season. And even when you are together, you're still googly-eyeing over Lana. So it makes no sense. And what happens? The last episode, right? He's with Chloe at this dance. As soon as he finds out that Lana might be in trouble, whew, he's gone. So what was the point? And then we don't pick this up till about a season later, halfway through the 2nd season. They pick it up, and now she's, you know, stuff like that. It's just like, no. Why did you force that in there? You just gotta have him go back to Lana. Again, I want to mention Whitney. His character is so, you know, not important that they write him off at the end of the season going off to fight in the war and stuff. He comes back 1 episode, but I'm not going to spoil that, but it's not him. But, yeah, it's, you know, Pete the Boss Ross. Yeah, he's a decent character, but in the grand scheme of things, his character doesn't really do anything other than to be Clark's friend. That's it. The parents are great characters. I think John Schneider is one of the underrated TV dads. When you hear people ask, oh, what's your favorite TV dad? You think Tim Allen. You think maybe Danny Tanner, you know, Bob Saget, you know. But you'd never say, oh, John Schneider, you know, Jonathan Kent from Smallville. I do, because I think he's one of the best dads. Well, he is stubborn towards Lex Luthor, and that, you know, goes the long way to Lex's eventual evilness, people distrusting him. But I just think that in this season, they don't give us a reason in this season why he is so against the Luthors. But for Jonathan Kent, I always thought that Jonathan Kent, of all people, would consider that maybe not all fathers are like their sons, or like all sons are like their fathers. Especially when you get into season 2 and you get to the reveal of what's going on with Clark and where he came from, which we already know because of Superman. But, you know, that doesn't let up. But I always, you know, like Jonathan Kent being a strong father figure. And right there, really, Martha doesn't really do much other than she's a damsel in distress a couple episodes. She's there by her husband to support or sometimes yell at him. Overall, there's no big overarching villain in this. You have John Glover playing Lionel Luthor, who in the long run probably shouldn't have lasted as long as he did. There's a scene in the season finale where he and Lex have an argument when a tornado comes in and blows out the side of the mansion, and Lionel's laying there with this piece of wood. And I remember when I first watched this, I know he was in future seasons, but I'm like, why didn't they kill him off here? Think about it. This whole storyline in the last episode was that because Lionel put Lex in Smallville to get him away from the company, but now that Lex is actually doing good there, he wants him back. And so he closes down the Smallville factory so that he can, because he offers Lex a job to come back to Metropolis. Lex says no, so then he closes down the factory, thinking it will force Lex to come back to him. But Lex has another way around it, using his mother's stock to keep the factory going. And so then they have an argument, the thing blows out, and this piece of wood is like right here, going to kill his dad. And Lex saves him. And I would have been like, let him die. One, Lionel Luthor is not an important character. At least he shouldn't have been. Because he's the original character. He's not in the comics or anything. He shouldn't have been that big of a character, but he was. He should have died here. Think about it. You get rid of your non-central characters. Whitney Fordman, Lionel Luthor. But Lex saves him. That's going to cue into the second season. Overall, I want to say that season 1, for being Meteor Freak of the Week episodes, was what they do. They say the meteor shower that happened when Clark came to Earth, to Smallville, it put meteors, and each episode is basically a Meteor Freak of the Week. You got Tony Todd, which I already viewed the episode. Good episode. But yeah, mostly just one-off Meteor Freak episodes. But yeah, I have to say this is one of the more decent seasons. It's when you get to the later seasons that you start to realize, now we're just doing Superman without him being Superman. But this is actually what the show is supposed to be. Young Superman going through high school. Young Clark Kent going through high school and learning the, things. And for my book, it's pretty good. So, season 1 for me gets the thumbs up. So, what are your thoughts on Smallville season 1? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.